Like you could tell,
Even,
like
Ant was
everyone was
digging
playing
in,
a little more serious,
Yeah.
especially for a preseason game. It felt more like a.
I
Like
feel
it
like
was
we
treating
have,
like a
I
regular
feel like
season.
we have to talk about it now. I feel like we have to talk about it.
I guess in that case. So Donte was talking that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Well, everyone knows the big blow up that happened, with the trade of Julius Randle and Donte Divincenzo to acquire Karl Anthony Towns by the New York Knicks, and that whole big blow up in the preseason game shortly thereafter. Well, recently, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, had Karl Anthony Towns on their podcast, and they address the entire situation.
For me, it was very weird. It was awkward. It took me like a couple minutes in the game to figure out, like, oh, this is really happening right now. I'm glad it happened in a preseason game though, because a regular season game would have been a lot.
Yeah, I feel like too, as far as preseason games go, it was I don't know what the right. I'm not gonna say spicy, but it was more intense.
There was more energy,
a lot
for
more
sure.
energy.
Like you could
Even,
tell, like
Ant was
everyone was
digging
playing
in,
a little more serious,
Yeah.
especially for a preseason game. It felt more like a. Like it was treating like a regular
I feel like
season.
we have to talk about it now. I feel like we have to talk about it.
I guess in that case. So Donte was talking that. You want to talk about it? We can talk about it. It's
I mean,
open.
I
I'm not bringing it
I
up.
just want to address that.
I'm out of this. This
That-
is
I
a
just-
Villanova
no,
thing.
I
This is
just,
a Villanova
I just want to
thing.
address that. Now families fight. Things are said. I mean, shit should have been handled better on both sides, but I mean, here we are. Everyone thinks the world's crumbling. Everyone thinks that. I mean, there's no definitive who was said to what and all that, but
Also, you don't even get to the point where you're doing that unless you have a really deep, decade-long relationship. Like you said, families fight.
yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It is what it is at this point. But I just feel like it should have been handled way better.
Whenever you get traded,
It's a traitor.
yeah, that wasn't the best one. As a seasoned tradie, I mean, you try not to take things personal because like things are the business, but there's always there's a human side to it, right? So you always like we talked about, like when you get traded, sometimes you feel unwanted. So you always have like a personal side to it, and then whenever you play that team, whether it's the preseason or whatever, like you always you go at that team. Like it's always personal for you. Like for me, there was times when I got traded and I was just sitting there like, hope everything burns down. When I was gone, I'm sitting there watching, I'm hoping everyone loses. But it's like that's just the human side, like the human nature to the business. Everyone's like, oh, it's a business, but you don't realize we're actual people. We have emotions, we have feelings. So it's always a little bit personal, but at the end of the day, it's always love because you've had, you've grown relationships and you went through adversity with those people. So, there's always a little bit to it, but
I also feel like it happened like a week and a half ago, and all of a sudden we're playing them.
yeah.
That never really happens. Like you don't get traded, and a week later we're playing them. Like, so I guess it's still fresh. It's still fresh in your mind, but I mean, all right.
Yeah, that'll be resolved inside the family.
I mean, just like Jalen Brunson said, things could have been handled a lot better from both sides. Josh Hart understands having been traded a couple of times, the emotion with getting traded and being forced out from a team you kind of, have built so many relationships with, and that being a very emotional experience. Like you said, ultimately it will likely get handled in-house, but amongst each other, because like I said, DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson obviously didn't have the problem. It was, his father, Rick Brunson, that was, going back and forth. But let me know what you guys think, man. Really excited to see what the season holds. And, this game will definitely likely be televised now, the Minnesota-New York game. They may televise, all four of them now. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to holler at you next time. Peace.